Hey everybody, today I got an email from Ted. And man, it was good to hear from Ted. Now Ted is a man who I did a video about last Christmas. And before I tell you the story about Ted, I want to share with you my house a little bit. You can see the Christmas tree. You can see I got the UNLV Syracuse football game on. And behind me is my office. That is the area there where I sit and do my live streams and many other things. But back to Ted. Ted's back in the US. Now he's been back there for quite a while. I did the video about him and I'm going to play that video. And I also did a follow-up that said how he got out of his trouble. Ted was a major overstayer. He overstayed over 4 years and was in fear of going to jail here in the Philippines. So watch the video about him. And at the end, I'll tell you everything that we did to help him. But Ted is asking me, Mike, I'm coming back. Well, Ted, don't do it. Don't do it. As Matumbo used to say, no, 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 not a good idea. Watch the video, leave a comment, let me know what you think.
Today, and I want to talk to you about someone I met yesterday. His name was Ted. And he was sitting at the 7-Eleven having a coffee early in the morning. So I decided to sit next to him, strike up a conversation, and an interesting story developed. Now, he cannot be on camera because he has overstayed his visa. And he's afraid that people will see that and they will turn him in. How can you be overstayed? You know, to me, it seems very simple to go down, pay your immigration, tourist visa fees, and stay compliant. But his story is he's been here 8 years. And during that 8 years, at the end of the 3 years when he was supposed to leave the country and do a visa run and come back, he didn't have the funds for that. So he didn't go. And he just lived with his girlfriend in the girlfriend's family compound. And he just kept putting it off. And once he got behind, he got scared. And I asked him about that. I said, once you got behind, couldn't you have gone down there and explained something? Couldn't you tell them that you were having some financial difficulty? And he was in fear. He heard stories of people getting thrown in jail. He's heard stories of people being locked up and then deported. And he just didn't want to face it. And he procrastinated. Over the time, days, weeks, months, and now years. He is so far behind. He's like at a loss. And he's here. He's right outside our condos of Solinia. And I asked him, what are you doing here? And it happened to be that his wife/girlfriend, her sister has a boyfriend that lives here. So they came for a visit. And his main concern now is his passport, his U.S. passport, is about to expire. Your passport's only good for 10 years. And at the end of those 10 years, before the 10 years are up, you need to, get a new passport. And he hasn't done that yet. And now he's in a world of hurt. He doesn't know what to do. He's hoping that this new boyfriend will be a soft touch and can help him out and get his shit in order. He looks like he's 73, 74 years old. I asked him how old he was, and he said north of 70. So I'm south of 70, but he's north of 70. So I did a little research on this overstay. And while we were talking, I sent a quick message to somebody I know in immigration, and I asked him, what is this guy looking at? He's got, 4 or 5 years of overstay. Is he going to go to jail? Are they going to deport him? Well, the word I got is he has to pay all the arrears, everything in arrear that he owes. So for every month he hasn't paid his tourist visa, he has to pay those months. He also has to pay the express lane fee for each and every month. So if he's been out, I'm going to say 40 months, he's been overstayed at least. So he's looking at, I'm going to say 100,000 to 150,000 pesos to get caught up. And I don't think he has it. I asked him what his income was. He said he was making on his pension about $740 a month. Now that's not much. That's not much. I can see him living on the compound with his girlfriend and having a low cost of living there. He can get by on that $740. Got to have my morning coffee, guys. So I don't know what this guy's going to do. He looks a little distraught. He's more worried about his U.S. passport expiring than anything else. And I told him, aren't you worried at all? You know, if you get stopped and you got to show ID, and say you did get a driver's license, and they're only good for 5 years, and it's expired, or for some reason you have to go in the hospital and you have to show ID, and you don't have any ID, they're going to find out that you've overstayed. And if it's a long-term overstay, I don't know what the consequences are. I'll ask HEIDI in an upcoming interview. I'm going to meet with her tomorrow, and we'll talk about this subject. But how much trouble can a guy be in? Now, I hope in the comments section, all you guys who have overstayed your visa in the past, leave us a comment. What penalties did you go through? How bad was it? Is it something that to be overly concerned with? Me personally, I find it to be one of my top priorities is not to overstay my visa, not even by 1 day. I have been late. Right after COVID, there's a couple times I had to file for an extension, and I was late by a few days, but I just had to pay the express fee, the express lane fee, and I didn't notice any penalties. There was a late filing fee of 500 pesos. I remember that on one of them, but nothing substantial. But if you add that up month after month after month, and you're going on 30, 40 months of an overstay, I don't know what the outcome would be. And it is something you can't do. You can't procrastinate here in the Philippines, especially on your visa. So if you're here, keep your visa up to date. You know, at the end of 3 years, you have to do a visa run. You have to leave the country for a day. I don't know the minimum amount. 24 hours, I believe, is one calendar day is plenty. Some people told me all you have to do is fly to another country, leave that airport, and get a stamp in your passport that you've left the country, you're in a new country, and then return back to the Philippines, and the whole tourist visa process starts over again. I don't know the amount of stay that you need in another country. Again, if any of you guys know the answers to these questions, leave them in the comments. You know, I don't know everything. This is just an interesting topic. I talked to this guy, Ted, and we had coffee. He started telling me a story. The hard part of that story is believing that somebody would go that many months and be overstaying their visa and never get caught. You know, I'm going to guess he's from a small town just below Toledo, he told me, here on the island of Cebu. And they live in the mountain area. So maybe he didn't have a lot of dealings with people. The local people, maybe they liked him and nobody cared. But, you know, I've been asked for my ID more than one time since I've been here. And if your ID is expired, if they ask you for your passport and your passport is expired, and this is the big thing he's worried about, is his U.S. passport expiring at the end of the 10 years. He doesn't know how to go about getting that corrected. I gave him the email address of the embassy up in Manila. I also told him right around the corner is the U.S. consulate. You can stop in there maybe and they can help you out. I don't know. But he needs to do something, and that's his problem. He has to solve this problem. He has income. He's been here. He has caused this problem himself over the years, and this is something he needs to solve. You might hear some noise in the background, some counting. They're doing exercise in the building next door that they're constructing. So I'm going to guess this is like what I used to call a tailgate meeting, where you get together, do a few stretches, and talk about their safety concerns. But back to this gentleman. By procrastinating, when you get here, don't procrastinate. When you get here, take care of your business. Take care of the things that are important. We're getting back to that subject again. Slow down. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you're in compliance here. Make sure that you're allowed to be here. You don't want to be in a Philippine jail. Not even they call it a holding cell, but that's jail here in the Philippines. Who wants to be there? Visa, your tourist visa is pretty cheap month by month. Don't come here without being prepared to take care of matters. Don't come here without knowing that you're going to have to keep up with your visa. It's probably one of the top things you have to do here. You know, your health you have to take care of. You have to eat. You have to have a place to live, and all this. But you have to get your visa. We're visitors in this country. We're guests in this country, and we need to stay compliant. Just think back home in the U.S. how aggravated and pissed off people are about illegals coming in and not having the proper paperwork, not going through the proper procedures, not having the proper documents to enter the U.S. and stay in the U.S. Well, if you come here and you become an overstay and your visa is expired, you're just like all of them that so many people are complaining about. You're here and you're not, I'm not going to say you're not welcome, but you're not obeying their laws. And this is the Philippines. This is not, back home in Kansas. It's nicer here to me. It's more relaxed. He lives in the province. He says he has a nice life, but this is like a dagger over his head, man, ready to hanging by a string, ready to fall and kill this guy. He's just so scared of the consequences of his actions. And being told that he might be deported, being told he might be blacklisted, being told he has to come up with the funds. Now the question is, if he doesn't have the money and they arrest him, put him in a holding cell, does he have to pay that before they let him out? Or do they just put him on a plane and send him home? I don't know. If any of you guys know the answers to that, let me know. For you guys coming here, make sure you budget $30 or $40 a month for your visa, for your tourist visa. And be prepared for that visa run once every 3 years. At the end of 36 months, you're required to leave the country if you're on a tourist visa. They won't extend it anymore. Now, if you're sick and there's extenuating circumstances, go to the visa office, the Bureau of Immigration. Tell them what's going on. Maybe there's a form or a program that they can help you out. I don't think so. I don't think anybody's going to help you out, but make sure you take care of your business. Overstaying can be very bad. And once you start overstaying 1 month and 2 months, 3 months, then you just start letting it go. You're just saying, my God, I don't want to pay all that. I don't want to pay that. And you procrastinate and you forget about it. It's like having a ticket back home. You got a ticket for going through a stop sign. You forgot about that ticket. You never paid it. And then one day you get pulled over and there's a warrant out for your arrest because, you never showed up to court. So don't put things off that are important. And make sure your passport is up to date. If you get close to being expired after 10 years, get the paperwork started. If you don't know what to do, contact the embassy. If you're back in the States, get a new one. But keep your documents up to date. Remember, the driver's license you have that you're bringing with you from California, Ohio, wherever you're from, it's going to expire. And if you're staying here long term, it's going to end up being expired and useless. Same thing if in the beginning you get a Philippine driver's license, it's going to expire after 5 years. And if you become an overstay, when you get pulled over after this 5 years and you're overstayed, they're going to want an ID. And they'll probably start doing some background check on you, especially if it's the Philippine Highway Patrol. They might arrest you on the road, or if you piss somebody off in your neighborhood, in your barangay, and they know you're an overstay, they might turn you in. This is why this guy didn't want to go on camera. He was afraid people might see who he is and turn him in. I don't know if there's a reward system here in the Philippines for turning people in, but he's scared to death that somebody's going to see him as we talk about being an overstay. So we're going to wish this guy the best of luck. I don't understand how he got into this situation. He's been here 7, 8 years, I think he said. And you have to make that run after 3 years. And you can get a cheap round-trip ticket. And we're talking 5 years ago. We're talking prior to COVID. He should have had no problem getting a ticket to leave the country and come back and maintain his visa. Now it's after COVID. Things are more expensive, yes. But hopefully our incomes have increased to cover the additional cost and inflation of airline tickets and traveling. Don't travel out of your home country unless you have the funds and the resources to do so. There's nobody here to help you other than the good hearts of other expats if something goes wrong. The Philippine government isn't going to buy you a plane ticket. The U.S. Embassy might help you out. Contact them. But, there's no social services here. You can't be homeless here and expect to get a bed for the night somewhere. There's no shelters for, I got flies. There's no shelters here for homeless foreigners. There's no food banks here. You can get a handout every now and then, but do you want to be that foreigner walking around begging for a cup of rice? I don't think so. Be financially prepared for everything. Don't put off and procrastinate on the important things here. Everything has a penalty. Everything has a fine. Make sure you're in compliance. And we'll talk to Heidi about this subject of overstaying. Keep your visa up to date. Until next time.
So Ted got in this situation, and how did he get out of it? Well, we talked to Ted. I got his contact information, and I told Ted, man, you better get hold of some family or something. And he said he didn't know how to do that. I sent a couple emails to some contacts he gave me. We finally got hold of a family member, and the family helped him out. They arranged to get a lawyer for him here in the Philippines, and he's back in the U.S. now, but I talked to him video chat the other day, and here's what happened. The family hired a lawyer for him, and the lawyer was $1,200 USD, $1,200, and that lawyer did a great job. The lawyer helped him get with the BI and find out exactly how much he owed, and contacted the family, said this is the best negotiated price I got. It ended up being about 2,000 USD to pay the Bureau of Immigration for all his past visa fees, express fees, and whatnot. He got that all paid ahead of time. And then the lawyer helped him go make arrangements to meet with the Bureau of Immigration and get his exit clearance. And this lawyer did a great job keeping him out of jail, keeping him out of BI detention, because right away he had money and was able to give the BI the money that they were supposed to have. And I don't know, money always gets you out of problems. I don't know if that helped also, but he ended up not having to go to the Bureau of Immigration detention. He ended up going to the Bureau of Immigration to get his exit clearance. And then he went directly to the airport, got on a plane, and he went back home to his family in the U.S. And when I talked to him, he said he's never coming back. He's too old, too fragile. His money's not strong enough. He only makes underneath $800 a month in pension. So he needs to stay in the U.S. close to his family. Now you finished the video. You know that Ted, he got out of the country safe. He got home. He got with family. And now he wants to come back to the Philippines and try it all over again. I know there's a lot of reasons to come back to the Philippines. It's a nicer life. It's a happy life. It's a good life to be here, especially on a small income, except he did not know how to manage his money. He did not take responsibility for his actions. Unless he was able to save a large sum of money, was lucky enough to sell something, somebody gave him some money, maybe he had a small inheritance, then I would come back. But man, if you're just on that less than $800 a month budget, Ted, don't do it. No, no, no. Until next time.